Congrats, you just signed a new client and they set up a subscription to pay you 4 figures every single month. What do you do next? Hey there, my name is Matt Wacek and I'm the CEO and founder of Landscape Marketing Pros, and I've made it my mission to help agency owners bypass the BS that you see everywhere and avoid the pitfalls and headaches that I encountered while trying to scale my agency from literally $0 to now about $23,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And today I'm making this video because after a year and a half or almost 2 years of trying, I finally landed my first clients, but I had no idea how to actually onboard them to get the information needed to actually kickstart a long-term partnership with this client. And it was a very stressful nightmare to figure out. And because of all that, I don't want you to be in the same boat. And so that's what this video is going to be all about. And if you stick with me till the end of this video, you're going to have crystal clear clarity on how to execute this with every single new client that you sign, so that this becomes basically an automated, simple process in your business. And every single client is absolutely thrilled to be doing business with you. And real quick, I'm just going to show you guys the numbers that my agency is producing, because there is a lot of BS out there. There's so much garbage that is either inflated numbers they're showing numbers from a business model that's not even related to the one they're teaching, and it's just a lot of crap out there. I'm going to be straight and tell you guys how it is. So right now, as the time that I'm filming this, $22,425 monthly recurring revenue. So basically what that means is that clients sign up for our service program that we offer them, and they just pay that every single month. It's a fixed monthly rate, credit cards on file. It's completely automated using Stripe, and it's actually amazing to have because we can count on this revenue every single month to ensure, of course, we deliver great results, but then also when it comes to paying me as an owner with my salary and other expenses that go into running the business, it just makes things a whole lot easier. Anyways, once we have a client, we've signed them, what do we do next? So the very first step in a successful onboarding process is to have as much of this automated as possible. When I got started, when I got my first couple of clients, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I was emailing back and forth, trying to figure out, okay, hey, what's the email that you have that's the Google My Business listing owns, and what's the password for? Can you hurry up and check your text messages for the 2-factor authentication code that was just sent to you? It's just an absolute mess. And we're gonna solve all of these problems here in this video, but it's gonna begin with automating things to actually set up the onboarding call following the sale. So I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown on what we do here at my agency. And so we have Panadoc for the proposal, which has a list of the service programs and what's kind of all included, and then the terms of the agreement. And then down here at the very bottom, they sign digitally, and then they select whichever program they're going to do. So let's say they're going to do the all-inclusive program, and this, when they click that link, is going to bring them here to a Stripe checkout where they enter in their details, and then it's going to actually redirect them to this page right here, where it says, hey, thanks for your business. Please book a kickoff call or onboarding or whatever wording, like some may use launch call or something like that. And there's this short video, which is a minute long, minute and a half. And basically it's me explaining, hey, here's what we are going to do during the call. Here's what you need to bring to the call in terms of access credentials and all that sort of stuff. And go down below, book your time that works best for you when you have 45 minutes to an hour to dedicate to this in a distraction-free zone. So let's say it's Monday, 10 a.m. That's what works for them. And again, this is set so that way the only people that see this page are those who actually purchase. So that's what you definitely want to make sure that this is set up for. You could, if you even wanted to skip this video and just have it be a calendar link that's redirected, that could work too. But I like having everything completely branded and on a site that I own. So they enter in their name, details, company name, and hit schedule event. And so then they're scheduled, they'll get email notifications instantly after booking, and then 24 hours, 12 hours, and then 6 hours and I think 30 minutes or something like that. They can also get text messages at different increments too. And each of those emails is going to contain info that explains what they need to bring to the call. So that's going to be access credentials to all the Google assets that you have, Google My Business, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, if they're all connected, hopefully that they are. And then if we're running ads, same thing with their ad account. Make sure that if they have an existing website, bring in all the credentials for that, getting their list of services together, and then we also set up a Google Drive for them to start adding their logo and photos of their work, as well as photos of them and their team. And that way we have everything just all streamlined together. There's no emailing photos to us and then having to add it. And no. Google Drive for that, and just makes things so much easier. So this leads me into the second step, which is to have some type of form system that's going to allow you to have this stored somewhere online, and then you can transform it into a PDF to store it to a hard drive or whatever you want to do. Maybe even use one of the agency management softwares. I don't use any of those right now because I've not found any that fit the need that I have. But at the moment I use for onboarding Cognito Forms. It's very, very simple software to use, And this is extremely simple to set up. It's just asking the questions that we need to ask. So the first steps are just the details, the contact information, the company title as far as the owner, like are they an owner, the CEO, president, what do people call you within the company? Then the next thing is kind of the website domain, registrar, web or WordPress credentials, Google My Business, access credentials. How many employees do you have, hours of operation? These are things that we need to have specifically for the SEO side of things. And then the next thing we get into is the services that they're offered. So we're trying to figure out exactly the services we offered. If you are someone who's never seen the landscaping industry, there's a big difference between lawn care and landscaping. Massive difference. And if you're trying to get into any type of marketing agency and you're picking a niche, you need to immerse yourself in that niche so that way you understand different nuances, because the way that things are communicated with a contractor that does outdoor living, design, and build is completely different than a company that does lawn care and they only do fertilizing and weed control. The value per client is dramatically different. And oftentimes the clientele is dramatically different as well. And so that's one of the things that we gather here. And part of that actually that we dig into later on here is their ideal client. So who are we really marketing to? Who are we communicating on the ads if we're running Google ads? And on the website, who are we talking to? Are we talking to that person with the starter home that's $300,000 and they're going to spend $500 a year at most on just lawn maintenance, lawn care? Or are we talking to the person that has a $2 million house, they make a $500,000 a year, and they're going to spend $50,000 on a backyard patio, outdoor living space, and all that sort of stuff? It's going to be a completely different shift. And these are things that if you're building an agency, you need to understand. This is why I segmented down. I've had a lot of experience in the landscape industry, so that's why I kind of selected it. But I would highly suggest finding a niche. I have a video if you want to check out. I'll link to it either up above in a card or down below description or in the comments to a video that kind of breaks down the niche selection for an agency. But these are some of the things that we ask. We just go through this. This usually takes an hour, sometimes even longer to get through. And so this is very critical that we get all this information, because of the fact that I don't want to be calling the client in 2 weeks. Hey, you guys said that you do drainage solutions. Does that include French drains, dry creek beds, and you guys do catch basins? I want to get all that detail right then and there on the call. And so I have a list of services in a document that basically every single landscaping company could potentially offer. And we just go through the list during this Zoom call, and that's what we're entering into these boxes here. So that way we know exactly what they offer and what pages we need to build on their website, and also what type of ads to be running as well. So then the cool thing is when you hit submit, it's going to store this here within Cognito. You can download it as a PDF, put it onto a hard drive, good to go. Then you have it stored. You can refer back to it. Your team can refer back to it when they're building out the site or writing content or whatever it is to figure out what needs to be written on the website and what way it needs to be written as well. How are we conveying the message? Because what are we selling? Are we selling $50,000 backyards, or are we selling $500 a year fertilizing weed control? So that's the second point, some type of form automation system. So that way these things are streamlined. It's very easy for you and future team members to be able to get the information they need so they can build the website and just manage everything better. So the third step is to use Zoom or some other type of broadcast software like GoToMeeting or whatever like that, something Zoom alternative if you don't want to use them. Because of the fact that, one, we can automate Zoom, we can integrate it with Calendly, so it automatically creates that meeting. It's going to show up on your calendar, and then it's just very easy, and you know exactly when the call is going to happen. Two, we can get all that information from that form right there on the Zoom call, because we're sharing our screen with our client. Ideally, they're at their office or at their computer, and it's a quiet spot, as opposed to them if they're on their phone, because I used to do this with a phone call, and I'd get guys that are out at the job site, and there's shoveling rock in the background, which is loud, or cutting pavers with a concrete saw, also very loud, and they can't hear a word I'm saying. And so with Zoom, then they're at their computer, and they know that, hey, this is an hour thing that we can get all this stuff that we got to do. I would rather spend an hour or hour and a half doing this, and they obviously probably don't want to be doing that. Most business owners, especially in the industry that my agency serves, they'd rather be out with their guys, especially if it's during the season. They want to be out with their crews or making sure everything's working as it should. But by having one long kickoff call, we get all the information. We don't need to hit them up in 2 weeks and say, hey, we just tried to get access to your Google account. Can you hurry up and check your email for our verification pin that Google sent you expires in 5 minutes? We don't want that. We don't want that at all, ever. We try to avoid that all possible. So during the call, we have this form open. We're sharing the screen with this. The client is telling us the details to fill in for each one of these boxes. They see it right there on the screen. And then we also will log into the Google assets. So Google My Business, the Google Analytics, Google Search Console, all that sort of stuff. Get it all connected. because there's going to be two-factor authentication for that and maybe some of the other things that they have as well. And we want to be able to get into it because Google's going to see it's a new computer trying to do it. So we can get logged in. They're right there. They can check their text messages, their email to get that pin to us so we can enter that in and get access. And then we can also take that time to set up a user on each one of those assets. So the Google My Business listing, the Google Analytics Search Console for our company. So I have an email that I set up for my company that is used as the user for each one of those assets. So that way it's easily accessible and a future employee, whether it's an SEO specialist or whomever it may be, so that way they can access those things so they can do their job as opposed to having to call up the client and let them log in through that. We don't want any of that. We want it to be easy for them to do business with us. So that's a quick rundown. Automate everything as much as you possibly can from the sales process into onboarding. Use some type of automated contact form. Don't rely on email. Don't rely on writing down pen and paper. Have something that you can create and then export as a PDF to store on some type of hard drive so that way you have that data when it's needed. And then use Zoom or some type of other telebroadcast, or whatever the term is for that software for training for future employees. And you can show the client everything that's going on. Maybe there's an issue with trying to get into their Google account, the password is wrong or whatever. They can see right there, oh, okay, let's try this password or something like that. And so if you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to go down below, drop a like if you're going to be someone that's going to take action on this and actually put it to work in your agency to help just streamline things and make it just overall less stressful to run your business. Be sure to go down below, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you know when all the newest content comes live. I've been absent from YouTube for a couple months because I really had to dial in my agency. We basically grew about 400% in a time span of about 3 months. So I had to get that dialed. Now I'm starting to have a little more time to do stuff here on YouTube as well as manage the agency because we got everything kind of streamlined. So we'll see you guys in the next video.